1X Developer Podcast.
Have you ever seen the movie Ghostbusters?
I have. Only the first one.
Oh, I've seen the first one and the second one. I didn't watch any of the new ones,
No, I haven't either.
but yeah, I've seen the first and second.
I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
I'm afraid no ghost.
We're recording this on after Halloween, so there's no reason to be afraid of ghosts. All ghost concerns are in the past.
Yeah, after October 31st, all the ghosts just go away until the next year.
That's right. Yep. There's a big lead up, and there's like, the ghosts are growing, they're growing, and the veil is getting thinner and thinner, and then November 1st, no ghosts.
Okay, what are we doing? What are we doing here?
That's how it works. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, this is not a ghost episode. It's an episode about the opposite of ghosts. It's an episode about stuff that feels good. Things that make us feel good. There's like certain things in program. I mean, there's certain things in every activity, I guess, that are just like pleasing, They're just like, they just hit exactly right,
Yeah.
What's the word I'm looking for here? How do you describe this? That little tickle, like in your head, you know what I mean? That's satisfying feeling, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know the word. I think that's why this is kind of an interesting topic, is because like as soon as you brought it up, I knew exactly what you're talking about, and I think that most programmers know exactly what we're talking about, but it is very hard to define, and it can be a little subjective, but I think that everyone has experienced that feeling, and I feel like maybe programming has a unique number of those. Like, maybe not. Maybe you're right. Maybe it's every activity has those. But I don't think there's a good word for it. I think that's why it's a kind of an interesting topic.
Is this ASMR, or is that different? Honestly, I feel like we're getting close to that, but not quite.
You think for some people ASMR is one of these satisfying things?
Well, okay. I know I have one thing on my list that is an ASMR trigger for people. That's
Okay.
mechanical keyboards.
Oh.
I know that's a thing. People, they listen to that clicky clacky sound and they get their trigger. They get their ASMR trigger, or is that what you call it?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know what you call it, but yeah. I guess it could be. Maybe that is the same sensation that people are talking about with ASMR. I don't really have the ASMR thing. I don't know. Do you?
I actually do. Yeah, I definitely do get it.
You watch those videos?
No, or at least not regularly, but I have, and I've been like, oh yeah, I know what this, like, I know what people are talking about. It was weird to me when I read that there are people who don't have it, because I was like, I do,
But not enough to indulge it. You don't like go seeking it out.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's not like that. I just don't enjoy it as much, or I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I always get weird, like when the ASMR stuff comes up, because I remember like one time I was at work and I was telling a guy about ASMR, and he was like, "Is this like a sex thing?" And I was like, "No, dude, it's not a sex thing." But he's like, "It sounds like a sex thing," and I'm like, "No, dude, totally. Like we're just like." No, just like watch videos of people doing their nails, and it's just like not a sex thing. It's just like it makes you feel good. Like, I don't know. And I just felt really weird. And
It's a sex thing for some people, though, right?
probably. I mean, everything's a sex thing for somebody.
Okay, well, I guess that's true.
But But I want to be like, I mean, I, 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 I F with the ASMR community, you
Yeah.
know, whatever you're into, that's cool.
I really think ASMR is one of those things like, we've talked before on the podcast about like the internet being a destructive force, but like the ASMR community finding each other and like generating resources for each other is actually, I think, like one of the really cool examples of people that may not have found each other before. They're like, oh, there are other people who are like into this the way I'm into
Yeah.
it.
I remember when I first heard about it, I was like, oh, this is like a thing. Like, cause I knew what they were talking about, but I didn't know there was like really like a way to describe it. Like, like I
Yeah.
said, this is like, I don't know. I feel like weird talking about it, but like, I remember like watching a movie or something, and there was like a part where these guys are like running on a sidewalk. They're like chasing someone, and like the sound of their they're wearing like dress shoes. They're like secret agents or something, and the sound of their shoes on the sidewalk like was just very pleasing to me.
Hmm.
And I think that was like I think that's what that was in retrospect. And yeah, clicking and like tapping sounds. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why, but I talk about this and I feel like everyone listening is gonna think I'm like a serial killer or something. I don't know. I feel like it sounds so weird describing it, but like, nah, I just like the sound.
Yeah, I mean, I think it does have a reputation for like, I don't know, having a lot of perverts or something,
Yeah.
but it
Well,
doesn't have to be.
well. But yeah, mechanical keyboards are like one of those things. I mean, I know there's like functional reasons why people like them as well. I'm a mechanical keyboard user. Longtime listeners will recognize that I type directly into my microphone, and everyone can hear it. I use red switches, Cherry MX Reds. I like the way they feel. They feel good, and they're loud. I don't think the loudness is part of it. I want to clear that up. Like I think a lot of people think that people use mechanical keyboards just because they like the way they sound. That's probably part of it, but for me, it just feels good. Like the physicality of it feels good.
Hmm. Is it is it a specific part of the keyboard action? Like, is it the click?
So the reds don't really click like that. They're like linear. They like sink in. The blues click really. Um, so it's definitely not the clicking, but
Hmm.
something about the way the key sinks in feels good. And I don't know how to describe it or what it is, but you use it for a while and then you use a regular keyboard and you're like, yeah, this sucks. This doesn't feel good.
Yeah, my wife's really into the
Are you a
mechanical
regular
keyboard.
keyboard user or
I, I'm a regular keyboard user. Honestly, I like mechanical keyboards. I've just never, I don't know, it's not a big enough deal to me that I've invested the time and the energy and the money into doing it. But my
yeah,
wife is into it. She really likes mechanical keyboards.
yeah, that's a real thing. Like they can get really expensive,
Yeah.
and
And
it's a whole community too.
I'm a little worried about what you were talking about too, about like I won't be able to go back.
Yeah,
Yeah, once you need the click and you're like used to it, then you like go to some crappy Logitech keyboard and you just like can't even function.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's why I've never given a real shot to like Dvorak or any of the like alternative keyboard layouts because I just feel like I'm gonna like it, and then I'm gonna have to use a QWERTY keyboard. And I've heard people say that it's actually not that hard to like use both. Like there's just a second where you like, oh yeah, okay, I got to do this. But I just feel like I don't know. That's just gonna ruin the way like 99% of keyboards work for me. You know.
Yeah. Yep. I think that's a real thing.
Okay, so what else feels good?
Well, so these are all like physical things that we've been talking about so far, but I think, as software developers, there are a lot of things that feel good, like in the realm of software. I'm going to start with the biggest, broadest one I can think of. And like maybe this is even too broad to fall into this category. Tell me what you think. There's this feeling that happens when you're like struggling with a program and like it's not compiling and it's like nothing's working, and then like the first time that it runs successfully and your program just like run basically you start the thing and it either like does what it's supposed to do, or it starts running. Maybe it's like in the browser, it starts running and then you can just start interacting with it. There's a very, very satisfying feeling, and I think that like that feeling for me is at the root of like why programming is enjoyable.
Yeah, that's like what it's all about, dude. Uh, I feel like the first time you get that is like that's when you're like, yeah, this is what I like doing.
Yeah.
You know.
I saw this article recently about AI, and this guy was kind of describing his experience the first time that he did that, and he was kind of saying that like AI, that his friend who was like coding stuff with AI kind of wouldn't have that experience, but I was like, I know exactly what he's talking about there. It's a very like satisfying kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like other things in life that are similar. I mean, I feel like, I don't know, maybe like catching a fish, you know? You've been fishing for a long time to catch a fish, or like, I think, I mean, I've never really been in this situation, but I like the way people have described it to me, like car guys, when they've been working on a car, and they like it hasn't started and then it finally starts.
Mm-hmm.
Like that sounds like a similar thing.
Yeah, I bet that's right. I think the reason that there are so few of those in life is because it's like, I don't know, you get so like you do all the hard work and then you get the payoff in an instant, right? It's like, like a lot of times in life, you do a lot of hard work and then like eventually you do see results for that, but they're not so immediate. It's like you look back 6 months later and you're like, man, I really worked hard and now I have my degree or whatever it is. But this is more like you work and you work and you work, and then like it's a sudden, immediate kind of like, yes, got it.
Yeah. That's part of it. I wonder if it's also partly just because like it's all, programming is kind of like all in your head in a way, right? I mean, it's on the computer and there is like, there's like physical transistors and stuff, but like when your code isn't compiling, that's because you did it wrong, right? Of course, there's like OS bugs and stuff, they happen, but like usually it's like you did something wrong. So then like when you get it right, it's like you did it right. You know what I mean? Like it was you. You figured it out, right?
Yeah. Yep. That's a good point.
Yeah, that's huge. That's a huge one. But then also like, you ever like come up with like a really good like terminal command or something, or like I don't know. You were saying earlier, kind of just like the terminal in general can kind of feel good, and I know what you mean. Like it's also hard to describe, but like sometimes when you're in the terminal and you're like really kicking ass, it's kind of feels like that, like in Minority Report, when he's like moving all the things around with his power gloves or whatever. Like that's what it feels like, and it feels good.
Definitely. These days I spend so much time in the terminal. As a professional developer, I spend so much time in the terminal that I think I take it for granted. But there was a time when I was, learning programming and all that stuff where I was still mostly a GUI user, and I knew how to do a few things on the command line, and it felt so good to do those things. It felt so efficient. It felt powerful. And I think that's exactly what we're talking about in this episode. It's hard to define, but it felt good to do things on the terminal and to like learn how to do those things. And I don't know. And it's really hard to describe to people even like why that was such a big deal. It's like, you need to get rid of GUI and like switch over to Linux and just do everything from the terminal. And you're like, you know, nobody wants to hear that from you.
Yeah, well, I feel like a lot of people get the idea that you're just like being a dork, and I guess you kind of are in a way. But it's like okay, yeah, it feels good, but also like it is good, you know. Like it was, you felt powerful because it was powerful, right? It was
Right.
efficient. So yeah,
There are a lot of cases, yeah, where I think it's objectively true that like the terminal is faster, more efficient way to do things.
so let me talk about something that I think people do just because it feels good. This is gonna be a hot take, honestly. So I have my one external monitor, and then I have my built-in laptop monitor. I think that's plenty of monitor. I feel like I don't need any more than that. People who have like a lot of monitors, I'm not trying to be a hater, like whatever. Your workflow is different from mine, but sometimes I think people are doing that just because it feels good.
You think having multiple monitors is something that like feels satisfying to people?
I think so, yeah. When you see like those people who have like a bunch, those people who have like six, it's like you're just doing that because it feels good, right?
6 is a lot.
You know, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I've heard that people who do like day trading will actually use all their monitors like that. Like they need to have tickers up all over the place. That can make sense, I guess. But I feel like for me, for what I do, you know, generally it's like I have pretty much all my work is in my editor and my browser. And I have using NeoVim. My editor lives inside my terminal, so I'm also doing my terminal commands in the same window.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I mean, then I'll have like Slack or like emails or whatever on my built-in monitor. But even that, I don't think is necessary. Like I can flip to those pretty quickly. But I feel like having a bunch of monitors feels cool to people.
Interesting. That one is interesting. Having multiple monitors does not feel good to me. I in both at work and at home, I have multiple monitors, and I kind of wish it was just one. Like I often find myself just using one. I think I'm trying to think.
So what is that behind you?
Yeah, no, but when I'm using my computer here, I'm generally only using the bottom one, and then the top one is when things get wild. like like when I really need. So okay. So music and visual stuff, like those are the situations where a second monitor is really helpful. Like with music, you have plugins and stuff like that where you need to. It's helpful to have like a bunch of those up at once and have them all displayed, and that just requires more screen real estate, kind of like the day trading scenario. But
Right.
I generally. Apart from that, I generally only use the bottom monitor.
Well, so that's the thing for me is I feel like I mean, I can only focus on one thing at a time, really, right? And there are things where, like, you know, if you're switching between two things really quickly, like a lot, then it could make sense that you would want to have two monitors. But anything more than two to me seems insane.
Yeah, I agree. I think there are specific workflows, like you said, that not necessarily require, but that lend themselves to multiple monitors in a way.
Yeah.
But I think not usually. But yeah, you think some people have that. You think that's like satisfying to them to have a bunch of monitors.
I would think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just assuming.
Didn't realize I had my monitors behind me.
Okay, what else feels good?
In the software world, I really think that like a really elegant object-oriented design feels really good. If we're getting into discussions about like software design, software architecture, I think it's really, really satisfying to have like a well designed object oriented kind of interface where you can use object, like the level of abstraction is right and you actually get to use objects as the author intended, and like the details are hidden from you and the API feels good, and like all of that.
Yeah.
I feel like there's something about that feels really, really, really satisfying.
I feel like I know what you mean. I know that object-oriented programming is kind of out of vogue right now, and I definitely have my qualms with it. But I think specifically, like when I'm like implementing a class, and I discovered that there is an interface that is exactly what I want, right? And I get to use the interface exactly as it was like clearly designed for, and it's like, oh yeah, someone made this for this exact reason, and I'm doing it. It's like, oh, hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right. But I mean, I guess that kind of applies to just broadly, just like well-architected projects, right? I think functional programming in general feels really good. I've only ever like done it in like side projects and stuff, really. But it just as a concept, like just generally it feels good when you have a bunch of little tiny functions that do really explicitly like very, very small things, and you're using recursion, and it's like maybe it just feels good because it's different than what I'm used to. I don't know, but it feels good.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because you have more experience with functional programming than I do. Yeah, I often think that things that are different don't feel good, at least not at first.
Yeah.
I think that's maybe like an argument in favor of it, of your brain fitting functional programming and it being really satisfying in that way.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I still struggle with it. It's not easy, but like after I've got some of it done, right? I look back at the code and I'm like, yeah, this is beautiful code. You know what I mean? I feel like I have like, I end up with just really clearly defined functions that do very clearly like very small things, right? Without any side effects. And I'm like, yeah, this feels good.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. That's pretty much the entire episode here. Nice.
It's got yeah. I mean, I don't know. Are we any closer to defining what this thing is, or
no, dude? I don't think so.
It's just going to be mysterious. But you said about functional programming that the code was beautiful, and I think that that's maybe a key to why this is like a hard thing to define. I mean, beauty is not just subjective, but it's a little bit of a mystery in the world, right? There's a reason it's considered like a transcendental value or whatever you call it.
Yeah. There's an aesthetic property to this, and it absolutely is subjective. I mean, like I said, like the multiple monitors thing is me assuming what other people find pleasing in this way. Mm-hmm. And there's people who I would guess there are people who like just don't get the mechanical keyboard thing at all. But who knows, dude?
I mean, one of the other big ones for me is with the productivity stuff that I've experimented with all kinds of productivity systems for something like 15 years now. And Obsidian for me just like feels good. Like from the first time I used it, it was like this feels good. And I think that this one of the subjective aspects of it is just it's like how does it fit your brain? And maybe even how does it fit your brain at the time that you encounter it, right? Maybe the same tool might not you might not have that satisfaction at a different point in your life. I don't know. But the productivity stuff for me is definitely another one where it's really, really hard to describe and define what makes a good tool and why I prefer this tool over that tool. But some tools just feel really good and some don't. Some are too complicated. Some are not flexible and complicated enough. Just got to find the one that feels good.
So, do you think Obsidian like fits your mental model, like your way of thinking, or do you think it's more just like it just has a good UI?
I think it fits my mental model. I do think it has a good UI, but I think it's more about that it fits my way of thinking. It's opinionated enough about things that it gives like some structure. It's not just like a totally blank slate, you know? Because that doesn't feel good to me, to have no structure at all in my note-taking app. But
I know what you mean.
there are other things about it that feel good that are hard to define, like, or maybe not hard to define, but it's just other people wouldn't necessarily care about them. Like the fact that, everything is markdown, the fact that I'm not stuck in Obsidian, like that feels really, really good to me. And I don't, that's a thing that other people might not care about.
Yeah, no, I agree. As an Obsidian user, I feel like I know what you mean. It yeah, there is structure there. Like there is, it does feel like there's an intended way to use it, and but you're kind of encouraged to like abuse it in your own way.
Yeah.
And yeah, the markdown thing is probably the biggest thing for me. Just because I don't really, we've talked about this before on the podcast. I'm not a power user. I just want an app that I can write markdown in and have everywhere, and it's perfect for that. So, yeah. You mentioned earlier that you think C++ can feel good.
Yeah. I think for whatever reason, C++ feels really good to me. And okay, maybe as I say that, maybe that's kind of tied into the object-oriented stuff that I was talking about earlier. C++ is very like tied into all that in a way. But I think that, yeah, I don't know why, but C++ feels like good C++ code that's really well architected just feels really good to me. I don't know why. I think it looks really good and it feels good.
I haven't really used it much, so I can't say. Yeah, I wonder what it is. I mean, C++ is somewhat verbose, isn't it?
Yes. And I don't. That's not necessarily a deal breaker for me. I know a lot of people don't like that, but I don't think that makes it less beautiful or less satisfying in any way.
Yeah, I agree. Generally, like sometimes I almost feel like I like some things being kind of in your face, I guess, in a way, like clearly stated to you. You know.
Yeah, and I think that C++, and I think also I think also from what I've learning Rust so far, it's kind of the same way. Like it you kind of have to be explicit about where you're importing functions from and stuff like that, and then there's some tools there that you can use to like make things a little less verbose. If you're calling the same function, you don't need to like specify the entire path every time, but yeah, you do have to be exact, I guess, about where you're I don't know. I'm not saying that well, but you have to be precise about where you're calling functions and things like that.
Yeah, I feel like I know what you mean. I feel like it's kind of just people describe like magic, how much magic there is. Like it
Yes.
sounds like C++ has a good amount of magic, where it's like it doesn't ever like feel like magic, right? Like you feel like you know what's going on, but
Yes.
there's like shortcuts for things, right? Is that kind of what you mean?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You can define a shortcut that's like right that you can just say like this keyword is now the equivalent of this long thing, right? So you can
You're talking
make it.
about macros.
No, these are. Is it the using keyword? I think it is, where you can say like, or you can basically define like a type as being equivalent to another type that's like defined in another file.
Okay. Yeah.
And I should say, I've never worked on a large C++ code base in production and all that. This is all just like side project stuff. But for some reason, I've just always liked how C++ feels.
That's always my thing. I have a lot of things like that. Like I like Svelte a lot, and I tell people I like Svelte a lot. But I've heard people say that like it's not great when you get into like really big projects. But I wouldn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I wonder like, do I like it because I haven't worked on a big project with it? Like, do you end up hating anything you work on a big project in? You know, like
Yeah. I think you do. Well, I shouldn't. Not that you end up hating it, but that you like. I think it's very different to kind of like idealize a language and kind of think about it on a small scale. You're like, oh yeah, this is really like beautiful and things. This is how things fit together. That's very different from like doing a big project under real world constraints. And things get hacky and you have to like take shortcuts and things like that because of business reasons.
Yeah, at some point you're going to see how not to use the thing.
Right.
And yeah.
Yeah.
I got one more thing. It feels so good to push to prod on a Friday. And I mean, I'm joking, but also like legitimately, I feel like there's something that feels good about. There's something that kind of feels good about doing things the wrong way, sort of. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
say more.
Like it feels kind of good when like you don't write any tests and it still works, right? That's kind of satisfying in a way. You know what I mean? Or like,
are you getting a
kind of
thrill out of not doing it the right way on purpose?
I guess it's a thrill. I guess that's what it is. But it's just like when you do something wrong and you get away with it because you're that good. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. It's like a no look pass. It's like a geez, I don't know. You know what I mean? It's
Were
like
you delinquent as a kid? Did you like shoplift?
I never shoplifted from a store. I remember stealing things from garage sales when I was a kid. I definitely wasn't a delinquent, or at least I didn't have the image of a delinquent. Like I was a good kid in school and stuff.
Say more about this though. Is this about like proving your skill? Are you like, I'm so good that I don't need to follow the rules? Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's what it is, I think. But not like I don't do this intentionally with that in mind, right? I just like, sometimes you kind of end up doing things like not really, you don't really follow the process you're supposed to follow, right? But then like it works out fine anyway, and it's like that kind of feels good. It also feels good when you do follow the process and the process works, right? Like I'll say, okay, every now and again you'll have a stand-up where someone actually like adds something of value to what someone else is saying, and it's like, dude, that was awesome. Like it happened. Like that feels good when that happens.
Right. This is how it's supposed to work.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I don't know. At least in the situations that I'm thinking of, and I don't know if it's just my personality or what, but when I don't follow the process and I have to like put something out there anyway, even if it works, I have this nagging feeling that's going to come back to bite me. And like, I almost feel like the longer I go in my career, and I've said before that I'm like, I've been at the same company for quite a while. I almost feel like the longer I go in my career, the more things that are like out there waiting to bite me. Like my past sins are going to come back to haunt me.
Right, yeah. I know what you mean.
Even if I've been getting away with it for like many years,
Right, yeah. I wish. I'm trying to think of like another example of something, like something where you end up doing that, right? Like I don't know. I don't really know how else to describe it other than like pushing the prod or that other thing I said, whatever it was. I don't know.
I don't know. That one might just be your personality, I think. That might be, yeah, that you find that satisfying for some reason.
Yeah, something wrong with me.
I'm trying to think, though. I mean, certainly we all have those where other people would be like, I don't think that feels good. I mean, the terminal is definitely one where I think most people that you talk to would understand what we're trying to get at with something that feels satisfying, but trying to describe the satisfaction that you derive from using the terminal instead of the GUI is, I think a lot of people would just not get it at all. Even if you showed them, you were like, no, look, it's faster and it's more efficient and all that, and they'd just be like, no, I'm going to double click on things.
Yeah, well, you kind of have to live it to get it, Like, I don't think you can just be shown how good something feels.
That's a really good point, actually. You've got to live it.
Yeah. Some things can't be taught.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's true, actually. You really do have to experience it. I think even to decide if you find something satisfying and you have that feeling from it, you have to like actually do it. You can't just hear about it.
Okay. I think maybe I have another example of what I was talking about. Like if you go to your LLM and you vibe code something and you just copy it into the code base without even reviewing it and it works, that feels good, right? That's kind of different, I guess, than the way I described it, at least. But like, that's not you should like look at it and like make sure, like review it. But like sometimes you don't, and you put it in there and it just works. Like that feels good. And then you review it after that to make sure like nothing's terrible is going on. But like when it actually does one shot, like that feels good.
I don't know. Yeah, that makes me nervous. I'll say that.
Okay, yeah, but I don't know. I guess it depends on what you're working on. Because like, I'll do that with side projects and stuff. Stuff that like that doesn't matter if it breaks really. And then I'll look at it afterwards, be like, okay, is this what's actually going on here?
Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, you're talking about like, you're not talking about copying something from the LLM, pasting it in, and then pushing to prod.
No. I'm talking about like you run it locally and it just works the first time, and you're like, whoa, it worked.
Okay, I do know what you mean by that. Yeah, some of the when we were playing around with like windsurf and stuff like that, I did have some of those experiences where it was just like it worked right the first time, and that's honestly like some of the good experiences I've had with AI coding have been exactly that, where it just like it just works and it feels like magic.
And
that does
that's
feel
not
really good.
That's not doing it the wrong way. I guess maybe I don't know. Maybe I described it poorly, but when like you get a whole lot of something for a little effort, and it's not terrible. It feels like something terrible should happen, but it didn't. That feels good.
Yeah, it feels like something terrible should happen, but it didn't. Yeah. Okay, I think I know what you mean. Yeah, I don't know. I think I do still have that feeling though with those situations where it's like something terrible is going to happen eventually. Yeah. I'm a worrier, Colin.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It like it feels good, but also doesn't. So I don't know.
I think I might try just copying and pasting some LLM code tomorrow. Just see how it feels. See if I get away with it.
See how it feels.
Gotta live it.
What are other rules that end up broken? Like, I can't really think of anything else.
Like procedures that
like
you're
process stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess like code reviews, but like I follow that.
Yeah, I think that depends so much on the company and the process there. But yeah, I would say like if you're supposed to have let's say this, if you're supposed to like be working on something that's clearly defined in a ticket, but you just kind of like
you slide something else in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do a little something like that.
That kind of feels good, right?
No. Make another ticket.
But like it feels kind of good though, right? Like
I'm not saying I don't do it, but yeah, I mean I do that. But I think what feels good is having two separate tickets with two separate commits.
Yeah, it feels good in a different way, in a better way.
Yeah. I do that, you know. I do break that rule sometimes, but I think what is satisfying is like a ticket and a commit, and then we push those, and then you have a ticket and a commit, and then we push those.
I was just like, I don't know. I'm trying to like find a way to make this episode not sound so incriminating now. Like I feel like I have to salvage this. Like I'm just here like, yeah, I really like being bad at my job. Like
no, not at all. No, I don't think anyone thinks you're bad at your job.
Well, do you have anything else that feels good you can think of?
No, I think that's probably, those are some of the big ones. I don't know. I mean, that feeling crops up everywhere. Why does, I don't know. I don't have any other good examples, but hey, I feel like that crops up all the time.
Do you feel like there are certain fonts that feel good?
Ooh, yes. I think fonts are almost entirely like vibe-based satisfaction.
Oh yeah.
Because you know, I don't want to piss off any typographists. But like a lot of times when people will try to explain and like justify what makes one font better than another, apart from like serifs, I really think it's just kind of like what feels good, right?
Yeah, I'd say mostly. I mean, other than vibes, there's just like strict like readability, which is still kind of a subjective thing. But yeah. When it comes to like when like you have programmers like arguing about which font they code in their editor, which one's better, that's more just like what is appealing to you.
Yeah, I think this concept of like satisfaction or whatever we're talking about here, I think that very much applies to fonts.
Although, I mean, there are fonts that I'll be like, yeah, this sucks because I can't tell the difference between like a capital O or a zero, something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's some objective things, I guess, sort of, but overall, it's I like the way this one looks and feels.
What I'm thinking of more is like kerning and things like that. Like, you know,
What is kerning?
kerning is like the spacing between. Oh, jeez, am I going to screw this up? It's the spacing between the letters, right? The amount of space between two letters in a font. Yeah.
Okay.
So how wide?
Right.
They
yeah.
are.
That sounds pretty purely subjective.
And there are people who, there are people who design fonts and stuff, and they put a lot of thought into like how much space there is between the letters and things like that. But certainly, like, yeah, L and 1 and L and capital I and 0 and O, like those readability things, especially when it comes to code, are, those are objective things that we can look at.
Yeah. Yeah, some fonts feel good, though. They feel good to look at and they feel good to type in.
What's your favorite font? What do you use?
Honestly, I like Firacode. Firacode. I'm going to say it.
I've always said Fira.
I forget what the one I use is called. I should know more about fonts. And like, I literally don't even know what I have set in my editor. I forget where to even look. I really have no idea. But I do like that one, and I like the ones I like are similar to that one. I like bold fonts, and I like I don't know the terminology. I like 0.03 pixel kerning.
I saw, just to prove once and for all that this is definitely subjective, I saw a guy on Hacker News the other day saying that he does not use a monospace font in his editor.
Whoa.
Yeah. Variable width font in the editor, which is kind of wild.
So he could have like two lines with the same number of characters, but they're different lengths.
Yeah.
Whoa. Do you have any explanation for it, or he just said he likes it?
I don't remember the explanation. I think it did have to do with the language that he was programming in, if I remember right, but I don't remember the details on it.
Did you ever see there was a Hacker News thread where this guy created this person created like a bracket for fonts?
Yeah, I did that.
Or did we talk about that? I think we talked about this once. Not on the podcast, but it was just like, you could just compare font to font. And I think I did it a couple of times and I got like different results each time. And I don't even know how to, I don't know. A lot of it was just how bold it was for me. And if the letters were like clearly different or the characters were clearly different.
Yeah. Yeah, I went through that and I think I got Firacode, which I was already using.
Okay, let me see. I can run this. Wait, what? Oh yeah, I do use Firacode. Okay.
What?
Is that what you use?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Because it's satisfying.
Yeah, I'll have to think more about that. All right, let's get into Whose Side Are You On?
All right.
The Whose Side Are You On segment of the episode. Okay, so we discussed one before we started recording, but I have another one that I think is kind of fun.
Let's do it.
So this one I just came up with the other day. Okay, so let's say you're programming as you do, and you have a function that it doesn't fit into any of the classes that you have. It doesn't really fit in anywhere clearly in what you're doing. You don't want to make a new one, and it's a function that you're going to use throughout your application that does some sort of like meta functionality, right? So generally, like yeah, that makes no sense, but like it'll make sense here in a sec. So like you could create a file called helpers, or you could create or a directory, I guess, or you could create it's called like utils or something. The question is, do you call it help? Whoa, I hit my mic. The question is, do you call it helpers? Do you call it utils? Do you call it I don't know, services? Maybe people use. I think there's a few others I've seen. Those are like the big ones, though. I think helpers and utils. Whose side are you on? What do you call that file?
I like utils. I think utility functions go in the utils file. Utils.
I like helpers. Yeah, I mean,
disagree. We finally disagree on one.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't really know how to explain why.
This feels very apropos for the episode.
Yeah. Helpers just kind of, I guess, one thing that has always been kind of weird to me is like, why not utilities? Why are you abbreviating a word that isn't that long, really?
I would argue it's pretty long. Utilities is, it's not super long, but it has a lot of I's in it.
Yeah. It's a cluttered word. Yeah.
It's kind of like I don't know, a word like itineraries or something. It's just hard to say. It's hard to type. It doesn't roll off the tongue.
Like Mississippi, something.
Yeah. Mississippi. I think utils.
So yeah, I don't know. Helpers, I feel like it's really clear what that is. But yeah, I'm not like rejecting PRs that say util. Well, honestly, I might be, just because like most of the time, because that's kind of another thing. Like you generally shouldn't really have files like that. Usually, I know there's some people who feel really strongly that like any helpers file is like a code smell and everything should be in a clearly defined, everything should be structured where like everything has a clear purpose and only, whatever. I don't always do that. I don't really feel that way, but usually, if you can, you should try to not have you definitely don't want to have like a big helpers file. I'll say that.
I think that's fair. Okay, I have something that I don't even know where I heard this or read it, but it's always kind of stuck with me as it making a lot of sense. At least in Python. In Python, modules are kind of the defining structure, right? It's not classes, because you can totally have a module with multiple classes within it. So right. I don't think there's anything wrong with having, like, I don't know that there's really a good argument that covers every case. You can make an argument in individual cases, but like, do we put this in a file do we put this function that's not part of any class, do we put that in a file that already exists, or do we create one of these utils files and put it in there? I don't think there's anything wrong with putting it in a utils file and having you have a utils module, basically, right? And a utils module has functions in it. I think that's fine.
Yeah, that's generally okay. And the thing is, I think like there are functions that really are a utility or a helper, right? Like, something that like, I don't know, does like some sort of JSON parsing or something like that. Something that you're going to use throughout that isn't really. And that's kind of what I was trying to say with like kind of like a meta function, right? It's like it's something that's like you're going to use it from anywhere, and it's not really. It's just kind of like a general programming thing, right? It's not like really. And yeah, I mean, I guess there could be a JSON parser module, but it just kind of depends on the project, right? So yeah, I agree. I'm not super strict about it, but I would say it is a little bit of a code smell, right? Like just if you just don't want to abuse it, is all, right? You don't want to throw everything in your helpers file.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with that. And I do think you're right, especially if your helpers file is getting really, really big. Probably time to restructure that into, I don't know, multiple modules or some classes or something.
And call it helpers and not utils.
Utils all the way.
I was trying to think. Those seem to be by far the most common ones. Utils is probably a little bit more common, I think, from what I've seen. Is there like... Is there, I feel like I'm forgetting one, though.
Those are the two that I feel like I've also seen the most. Let me see.
Utils versus helpers. Service?
I don't know.
It's kind of a different thing.
Yeah, for some reason, I don't know if this is right or not, but for some reason, services in my head has like a implication that it's external services that now we're like integrating with some kind of third party service or something.
Yeah, it also to me kind of implies like a long running something that like runs in the background, like a Microsoft service or a Windows service, whatever. That's not. Yeah, it seems like util helpers. Oh, there's common. Base. That's different. That's yeah. Base is like not the same thing. Because base isn't like helper functions. That's like core.
Yeah, common. Well, yeah, depending on what it is. Like I think common. There's probably an argument for that. Like in the scenario you were describing with the JSON parser or something, like maybe that could go in common.
Yeah.
I really don't have a strong feeling about helper versus utils, honestly, but
yeah, I mean it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm looking at some stuff here though, and I'm seeing util. I don't know, could just be what I'm used to. Whoa. Yeah.
What if the file is just called like code.py or whatever?
No go. Reject PR.
Or like, what if just like all your file names were just like one letter? Just A, B, C.
Here's some actual ones that would cause me to reject your PR. Stuff.py.
Yeah.
Things.py. Junk.py.
Right, yeah. I mean, utils and helpers, they are like general, but there's still a little bit of a description of what's going on there.
Yeah.
I have some idea of what's in helpers. I have some idea of what's in utils.
Yeah.
Oh, tool. I feel like maybe I've seen tools. That's kind of the same thing as utilities.
Yeah. I don't hate tools. Tools. Yeah.
Maybe I'm
actually,
making this up. I don't know where I would have seen that. But it feels like it could be a thing.
I think I like tools though. I mean, that again feels like it gives you some description, but it's pretty general still. Yeah.
So I was looking this up a little bit, and there's some people who feel that helpers and utils are different. Like they're two different things.
What differentiates them?
Okay, this guy on this GitHub thread created a table. The purpose: a helper function provides support or aids to other part. Why didn't I share the screen? Why do I do this? I'm such a silly guy. All right, share this one. Yes. So the purpose: helpers provide support or aid to other parts of the program. Utilities perform common or generic operations that are not tied to any specific part of the program. Am I crazy, or are those two different ways to say the same thing?
Yeah, I'm not sure what this feels like a distinction without a difference.
Scope: helpers typically used within a specific module or part of the program. Utility can be used throughout the program. Okay, so he thinks utilities are more broad.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. Dependencies.
That's kind of funny, but in my head, I would reverse those. I almost feel like utils are for a specific module and helpers are for an entire program, but
I can see that.
I don't really know why I think that.
Dependencies. Helpers often depend on other parts of the program. Utilities usually independent of other parts of the program. Okay. Examples. So he thinks form validation functions and data formatting would be helpers. String manipulation, math libraries. Okay, the examples I think is probably the clearest. I feel like I get what he's saying with the examples here, right? Utilities are almost like, things that are like almost feel like they should be part of the language, or like they should be part of like a core library type thing. Okay. Helpers are more like, I guess they're more specific, I guess. I don't know.
Here's the thing though, like if you have something that depends on other parts of the program and like why isn't that in with another module? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
why is that broken out into its own thing? It feels like in both situations, the thing we're talking about here should not have dependencies on like other parts of the program.
See, but okay, so this top answer though is like the opposite. This person is saying that utils is a place where you can place small snippets you can use throughout the application. Helpers is more of a place where you can store architectural snippets, things essential for Bootstrap. So he's kind of saying the reverse, right? From the previous guy.
Yeah.
It sounded like this guy saying utils are more like deep architectural things.
Yeah. Yes, I think those are at odds.
I think I think we're past the point of like useful discussion here. We're at the point where it's like, why are we even talking about this? Honestly, it is weird. Why would you have both utils and a helpers separately? That seems kind of weird.
I agree. I think you pick one or the other, and I don't know. I think you try to make it as I don't know. I was going to say you make it as like specific as you can. If it belongs within a module, then it's like if it's like related to and depends on things from a module, then it's like you put it as part of an existing module, right? I think everything we're talking about here should be as independent as possible.
Right. And if I go back to the examples, I mean, so he said form validation and data formatting would go in helpers. Data formatting I get. But I feel like form validation, like you should have a place to put that.
Yeah, I agree.
Like wherever that form exists, probably the validation should exist somewhere closely associated to that.
It's a little hard to tell there if he's talking about like a specific form validation or just generally form validation functions.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I absolutely think that form validation functions, like in general, should have their own. Like that can go, like Django has, it's under the forms validation module or whatever.
Yeah, at the very least, you could have a file called validation or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it. Programming makes me feel good.
Me too. Satisfying.
There you have it.
1x Developer Podcast.
Hey everybody, this is Colin. First and foremost, I want to thank you all for listening to this episode of the 1x Developer Podcast, and let you know that if you have any questions, comments, or if you just want to tell us about your day, you can reach us at X, formerly known as Twitter, at 1x Developer Podcast. We're also on YouTube at 1x Developer Podcast. You can email us if you're weird at 1xdeveloperpodcast@protonmail.com. And lastly, don't forget to follow, subscribe, all that stuff, so you don't miss any further episodes of the 1x Developer Podcast. Thanks so much. See you next time.